Alright folks, welcome back to another raid video, and we're going to do something a little different today. I know most of the time I'm doing videos on strategies, team strategies, builds and things like that. I like to keep it about the mechanics of the game as much as possible, but there was a new release today called Super Raids, and I thought this would be a really good opportunity to talk about the state of the game in 2021, cover the positives and negatives of the game just now, and see where I think it is going to be leading us to. Now the reason this prompted this all is because literally like an hour or two ago we got notified in the creator chat about Super Raids, and it's just come out right now as well, so it's come out very quickly. Now Super Raids basically means you tick this box when you're doing a raid in the Fire Night it is just now, and it will increase the energy to 40 from 20, so it's just double the energy but you get double the rewards. So it doesn't save you any energy, anything like that, but it gives you much more time. So this is leading me into one of the issues this game has been having recently, is the time spent in game. With all the new content added, the time spent in game is increasing ever more, and the more stuff they add, the worse that's going to get. So they do need to look at ways of lowering the time spent in game, and this is a great way to do it. It's nice that they're actually listening. Granted, it's in dungeons, which is probably the least favourable place to put something like this in just now. Dungeons are a bit different because you tend to be grinding a lot of dungeons at night times and things like that. I know most people tend to, when they're out or if they're sleeping or something, they'll just do Fire Night runs, they'll do Dragon runs, things like that. The things where they really need to cut time down to, I mean, so just to give you some context, this is now on for 2 days and 23 hours. It would also be very nice if this was a permanent feature, but I get it's just an event just now, but something like this as a permanent feature would be really, really useful. They are actually running a Fire Night tournament at the same time as well, which is nice, because I know a few times they've put on things like this and then they haven't actually run the tournament in the background, so that's pretty cool. So I will do some Fire Night farming today, but yeah, the things they really need to cut down time on are these limited resource sort of things. So basically, the faction wars 100%. Once you complete faction wars 21, you know, maybe it should be an auto clear all the time, even if it was like a case of you did one that day as a full run, and then for the rest of that day you unlock the auto run for the remaining 3, because if you do get your advanced quests, you get the other 3 as auto runs too, so you're only having to do it once per day, which would make a big difference. Clan boss 100%. I get that the clan boss, it takes a lot of time to build a team, things like that, and obviously you have to set and tune it, and it's all about having the better characters to actually get a fast enough run. But there's got to be a way even to speed it up to like a 10x, or there's got to be a way to make it faster, because that is the one thing I really struggle with in this game, is my unkillable clan boss team. It's like a half hour to do one run. It takes a long time. Doom Tower as well. Yeah, 100% for Doom Tower. This needs to be sorted. So I've got 15 multi-battles here. I totally get that you have to build a good team to actually beat this guy in the first place, but once you've built a pretty solid team, you should be able to get some way to speed up the remaining 15. I don't think it maybe should just be an auto clear, because then if you just clear it with like a 20-minute long team, then and someone else clears it with like a 2-3 minute team, they should have an advantage over that person. But it would maybe affect how many you can auto battle afterwards. I don't know. But there's got to be a way to reduce the time, because it needs done. Because if you were to add in, say, another clan boss, it's going to be a nightmare, this game. And to be honest, I've seen more people quit this game in the last month than I've seen anyone quit in the whole time I've played, purely because of, well, not purely, 2 reasons: time spent in game, and the other one's clan versus clan, which leads me on to the next point. If we're talking about the state of the game, clan versus clan still remains the most toxic thing in this game. It's actually pretty cool for new players, which is, I suppose, ironic, because I remember playing on my free-to-play account and it was actually really good. It's just more resources, but that is all it is. It's not interesting content, it's just more resources, which they could give in any other way, shape or form. The problem is when you get to the, you know, not even to end game, once you get to reasonably high in the game and you start competing against other clans, it becomes a whale war, and it actually creates a lot of division in clans. People have left because of this. And the absolute #1 reason is the fact that they've still got this reaction gear in it. Everyone's now slowly just accepting that it's part of the game, but it's a really bad part of the game. It's still the worst set they put in this whole game since I've ever played. It's so overpowered. I really wish they would actually address this at some point, but it does not seem, because Swift Parry was said that it was too overpowered to begin with, and it's stayed the same. And at the moment you're having to worry about reaction, Swift Parry. There's just too much RNG for my liking. Most competitive games, they don't really run on RNG type abilities. You know, you work more on skill and team building and the knowledge that something's going to happen. I mean, even the 3% chance of an accuracy or a debuff not landing or being resisted, things like that, is another issue, but it's not quite as strong as those other two. So hopefully, with any luck, in the coming months, we might hear something about the clan versus clan PvP aspect, and that should breathe new life into the game, because that's a sorely needed feature, and I think that could make up for a lot of the rubbish that is clan versus clan. But if you were to just take out the reaction accessories, I don't think it would be nearly as bad. I think clan versus clan would then be quite good, because you just shoot for your milestones. If you win, you win. You don't, you don't. You wouldn't spend like thousands of dollars trying to compete to get these crazy artifacts. I don't think the Blood Shield ones are overpowered. I think they're quite good, actually. I like them a lot. The reaction ones do drastically need a nerf, and I'm still going to keep going on about this for the indefinite future, because it definitely needs to be done. But in terms of features in the game just now, I've got a good scope of it, because I've played my free-to-play account and I've played my main account, and it's actually pretty decent right now. Now, I know a lot of people moaned because the daily login rewards were taken. I don't know why I'm going there. So at the moment, we've got these shards here, which wasn't a great move. I think everyone agrees on that one. They would have much rather had the chicken and the sacred shard still, especially the chicken, I find. I mean, the sacred shard's good, but the 5-star chickens for free to play are difficult to get, so that one was definitely a sore one, I think, to lose for the free to play community. But apart from that, I mean, between advanced quests, the weekly, daily quests, you've got so many different avenues now to get stuff and resources from. You get packs pretty much every day, like mini mix packs, free packs that you pick up. There's loads of other things. The Doom Tower, if you can build decent enough teams, there's actually a lot of decent resources that come from Doom Tower. So it's not too difficult in this game compared to a lot of games like this to actually just keep playing most of the day without having to spend any money, which is pretty useful. I mean, on my free to play account, I always have something to do. There's very few times, if any, that I've not had enough resources to just do anything, and I'd have to leave the game alone to regenerate some energy. So it is in a good state that way, and I think that does get overlooked a lot. That's part of the reason, I guess, a lot of people complain about time to play though. So it's a double-edged sword, because there's so much to do and so much resources available being free that it can be a little overwhelming. So this is where the game runs into a kind of sticky situation, I find, because the time spent in the game is so high right now. But something like a really popular MMORPG, I mean, anyone that plays them, there's zero chance you can do everything you need to do in those games in a day. It's just impossible. They don't have the sort of daily things to do as much as these games do, but you know, you basically just pick and choose what you want to do that day, and the rest of it just has to wait till a later date. The problem with those games though is it's quite a bit more enthralling content, a lot more skill based. You're having to, you know, take time to do raids, take time to do various things. Whereas in these games, you do something, then it's just repetitive. So that's the reason why I think being able to auto a lot of these things would make such a big difference, because there's only so much, you know, one person can do the same clan boss run over and over and over again before it really begins to drag on them. So if you can speed that up for them and let them get on with new content that's actually more interesting, and I think that's a great thing for the game. But the one thing that I do keep playing this game for is the arena, and I do think it is, at the moment, the backbone of this game. Most people, especially newer players, will be pushing more towards like dungeon and clan bosses and stuff. But I find, personally anyway, this isn't the same for everyone, but once you can one key Ultra Nightmare, you could push for like a few 100 million sort of teams. There's obviously Victor Tez done some incredible work on like 500 million teams, which is really interesting to see. But there's no incentive to go that high because you don't get any extra rewards for it. So really, once I built that, the only thing I've really focused on this game for is PvP, because it's super competitive, it's got a meta that's constantly shifting, it's all player based, so it's nothing to do with Plarium. This is the players that set the meta, which makes it super competitive. It's really fun. The rewards aren't great for it, but the competition's there, and that's what people thrive for. So I honestly think for this game to really continue with its current role of form, it really needs to focus more on the arena, because there's just so much it can do that it's missing. And I did see in an interview that they're not thinking about the arena till like next year, which I think is a big mistake. They could add in a few simple sort of things into the arena right now that would breathe new life into it, something like a permanent leaderboard throughout the week. There's no way that's a difficult thing to do, because I'd love to be able to just see at the end of arena reset, oh, who came first? But you can't see that. You have to try and time it. If you weren't fighting for like the last 10 seconds, have a look yourself and then just take a screenshot. So yeah, that's not ideal, but you know, something like leaderboards, obviously they need to fix the matchmaking to make sure they don't have to put these bots in anymore. I'm not sure if new tiers added will help or not. It'll just depend if they can fix the matchmaking or not. But yeah, and change the reset time. That's been something we've been talking about for ages now, so some sort of staggered reset time or 2-3 resets a week would make a difference, because at the moment I've been missing pretty much every reset. I think I've done like 2 resets in the last couple of months, just because I just don't have the time, and it's at a silly time in the morning for me when I'm working. I've got kids that go to school, so there's just some real basic quality of life features that could go. But then obviously there's much more advanced features like real-time PvP, things like the clan versus clan PvP would be great, competitions, and there's so much cool stuff that you could add into the PvP aspect that would make it fun. I'd love to see like playlists, so maybe you'd have like, this is like classic arena, you can go in and fight with any team, but what about playlists like a rares only playlist? So you could have a rares only league and it would have its own sort of platinum tier, and you were only allowed to use rares, you know, things like that. It would make it really interesting, and obviously make it slightly better rewards for actually finishing in platinum, because at the moment the swift parry gear and that, it is very good, but you know, at least chuck in some sacred shards and something to make it worth the while going for, because clan boss at the moment in this game is brilliant rewards. I think it's really, really good, but it's so much better than everything else in this game that everything else, unless you're just going for the prestige, isn't really worth doing. The clan boss is by far the best way if you're just looking at resources versus time spent in the game. I would just sign in and do my clan boss every day and then sign back out. That would be the best thing to do. But in terms of the actual content, I actually really am enjoying it. I think the Doom Tower has actually been much better than I thought it would be. When it first came out, I was a little bit dubious, but I'm really enjoying the new bosses. I've enjoyed all the new bosses really. I think they've all been quite interesting. Bommel is pretty damn hard, I'm not going to lie, but I think we're seeing enough different kind of teams coming out now that he's not quite as broken as we thought he was to begin with. I think he's broken still, but he is definitely beatable with various different teams now, so that's good to see. And I do really enjoy Doom Tower, and I think they give you enough resources in it to make the worthwhile. Maybe I would like to have a look at some of the sets, especially the Affinity Breaker. I think they could do with giving that one a buff, because that one feels pretty useless just now. But in terms of like Untouchable, Fatal's not too bad. The new ones, Fortitude and Lethal, are insanely good, so now we've got a really good reason to be doing Doom Tower. I do like that. So what do I think the state of the game is in 2021 September? I think it's on the fence just now. It's a great game still, I play it a lot, and it's really good to see these super raids coming in, but I do feel that it really needs to listen to community a little bit more and act quicker on a lot of issues that are happening in the game right now before more players leave the game, because there's a lot of other titles coming out at the same time just now, and it would be a shame to see it just crash and burn to someone that does take the initiative and take all these risks, I guess, and go for the more varied content. But all in all, I think it's still a fantastic game. I think the design's still 10 out of 10. All the things that make it a really standout game are very good. The pricing is still way too high, but that's never going to change. I'm actually at the point where I'm not that bothered about the pricing, because you don't have to buy it. It's not like you're forced to buy it. You can definitely play this game free to play. If you haven't checked out my free to plat series, check it out, or there's loads of other content creators doing free to play series just now, and it has proved that you can have a lot of fun in this game and do extremely well without spending any money. So that for me isn't an issue. The aggressive sort of marketing, I think it's just part of mobile gaming, so if you don't like it, don't play these sort of games. You just have to be able to deal with that. But there's things like the time spent in game, there's little quality of life features that could really help improve the game. So anyway, that is my video for today. Sorry it's a bit of a rant, it's not the usual kind of video that I make, but I just wanted to get this all out there, and hope you guys have a great day. Peace.